If you add the words and or assigns into every single purchase contract that you go into, you have complete control over the entire deal. And I want to show you everything about it because it's so amazing how in your real estate investing, this is going to make you have so much control. So, hey guys, my name is Dustin Heiner with Master Passive Income. I help people learn how to quit their jobs by investing in real estate rental properties so they never have to work a job, a just over broke job again. We buy rental properties and make money from them. And remember to click subscribe so I can get you great real estate investing content all the time. Now, in buying rental properties, we buy with contracts. We have purchase contracts or purchase agreements with sellers. Now, what happens is as you are writing up a contract, you work it out with the seller, you get the purchase price, everything's agreed upon, and then you sign your name on the contract. You know, like Dustin Heiner buys from Joe Smith. Well, you can absolutely do that, but that does not give you all that much control. Now, you absolutely own that contract. That is your contract, that you can buy the property, but that's almost all that you can do unless you get them to agree with something else. Now, these three little words, and or assigns. And or assigns are fantastic words that are going to help you to control the contract, to do whatever you want with that contract. See, what happens is, as you're writing your name, you can literally add in there. So it would be Dustin Heiner and or assigns. Literally put all those words together, Dustin Heiner and or assigns, and you have the seller's name in there as well. But what that does is it allows you to have other people to buy in with you, put their name on the lease, or you can assign it to somebody else. You can sell it to somebody else. That contract that you got into with the seller, you can do with whatever you want as long as it doesn't breach the contract with what the seller is actually wanting, the money that they want out of the deal. And with the selling of the property, with the terms, you can absolutely sell it, assign it, add somebody else, or remove your name and do something else, put your LLC, do whatever you want as long as you add the words and or assigns. Now there's some tricks or some tips that I want to give you when it comes to adding and or assigns to your contracts. And when you are adding the words and or assigns, you're basically saying that you have the right, you reserve the right to lease, to rent, to repair, to assign to somebody else. I wouldn't say repair a property you don't actually own. I would not put money in towards that, but you can assign the property to somebody else or sell that entire contract for profit, like if you're a wholesaler. And or assigns is a must. You must put that and or assigns in there because what if you wanted to sell a house? You got a property under contract and you wanted to sell that contract, not the house, the contract to somebody like me who's an investor. Well, you want to make $5,000. Let's say you have the house under contract for $100,000. It's probably worth $130,000. You got a contract for $100,000. Me as an investor, I'm like, shoot, that's great. I'll pay you money. How about I pay you $5,000 for that contract? Well, you don't want to have to spend the money with buying that property for $100,000, then sell it to me for a small profit of $105,000. What you would rather do is me literally write you a check and say $5,000 to John Doe for finding the contract, and then I get that contract. Everything's done through escrow. Like I don't just literally give him a check; it goes through escrow. Escrow pays all that stuff out. But as a wholesaler, because you're assigning it, you don't actually have to close on that property. That property is literally from the seller to me as the investor. You're the middleman. Think of a realtor. That's really what a realtor is, a middleman connecting buyers and sellers. Wholesalers do the exact same thing. Now, if you're an investor and you're buying a house, you never know, and this has literally happened to me, you never know what's going to happen with a property. I always go into any purchase agreement with the intention of buying it long-term, having it a long-term rental property so I can make money every single month. All the properties I buy, I usually make $250 or more every single month from every single one of my properties. And all my students, I show them how to do that as well. Now, there are some properties that, actually there was one specific, I'm thinking of one right now, that because I wrote in the terms and or assigns with my name, because I did that, I was able to assign that contract to another investor. What happened was I was buying so many properties at one time, I literally ran out of money, and this one deal was a fantastic deal. I was really bummed to actually assign it to somebody, but I assigned it over to them and I got a little bit of money, but even though it was $1,000 or $2,000, I'd much rather have it as a rental property, but I was able to not let go of my earnest money. So I have also, another thing you talk about is earnest money. When you buy a house or you put a contract in, usually you give them like $1,000 or $500 to say, I'm serious about this. And if I back out, you get that money. Well, if I would have backed out, I would have lost, I think it was like almost like $1,000 earnest money. I would have lost that. Well, I didn't back out. I was able to assign that to another investor who did have the money to, and it was short-term or really, really quick turnover. I could have got like hard money. I could have done a lot of different things to get money, private funding, borrowed it, hard money, get other financing. I could have done that, but I didn't have enough time. The time was running out. And so I said, you know what, here's an investor. Let me go ahead and assign it to them. So it was basically a wholesale deal, but oh well, I made a little bit of money. I'd much rather own it long-term. So when you're getting it as and/or assigns, there's some other tips that I really, really want to give you. And like I said, the biggest reason why you have and/or assigns added to your name, and if you go to the description below, I'll have a whole write-up on literally showing you contracts and everything like that. And in the video, you've seen contracts and snapshots, but I literally walk you through the entire process. So click on the link to actually go to my site and see everything about it. But what it does is it gives you complete control over that contract, over that terms, everything about that. So if you need to do anything with a third party or you need to have it inspected or whatever it might be, you have that ability. Having control is all about what you want. Now, it also, like I said, for my instance, you can get paid a broker fee or a wholesaler fee, or you can actually get paid for that contract. Another great thing on top of that is you're letting the seller know that your intent is to not necessarily purchase it. You're letting them know. You're being upfront. You're not being shady. The last thing that you want, or any seller wants, is to be bamboozled or to be taken advantage of and say, hey, I thought you were buying it for yourself, but you're actually wholesaling it? What's the deal with that? Like, no, up front, this is the plan. I, in my business, try to be as transparent as possible. This is what's happening, this is what's happening, and this is what's happening, so that they can never come back and say, you didn't tell me this. Like, no, I literally did, and it's written down over here. And with and/or assigns, it's literally written down there. And/or assigns, you can assign it. You're going to take care of them and their needs. That's the biggest thing about real estate, is you are helping them in their time of need. Whatever they need, you are there to help them, to make sure that they are taken care of. If they're wanting to sell the house because they got to pay for medical bills, that's the end goal. They want money for the medical bills. And so your job, my job, is to take care of that transaction so that they get money for their medical bills. So when you are, and this is a whole nother subtopic, is when you are doing real estate, when you're looking at deals, when you're talking to sellers, figure out what they want. And I have a whole nother video on negotiating. Check out the description below where I talk about negotiating. I love negotiating. It's one of my favorite things to do. And in order to do it right, you want to know what the seller is thinking, what they really need, what are their pain points, how are they having issues with whatever it might be. As you're doing that, you're going to figure out what their pain point is, so that when it comes down to it, you say, I've fixed that pain point. There's no other reason why you shouldn't sell to me, or let me take care of your problem. Get this house off your shoulders and give it to somebody else. I'll take care of you. Another great thing with having and/or assigns, and you assign it to somebody else instead of having a duplicate, or like actually closing on the property. If you close, like, you have to put money out of your pocket to pay the seller, close on it, and then sell somebody else. Now there is dual closing where you close really quick, and there's things like that where you don't actually have money coming out of your pocket. But if you close once, your name is on the title. Then you close again, then your name comes off the title, but your name is in that transaction. This is a great way to literally remove or never have your name anywhere near in that transaction for any reason. Another great reason for having and/or assigns is you are saving the seller so much money. Now, if I go and talk to a realtor over here and I say, hey, realtor, I want you to sell my property. If I'm the seller, the seller's going to, or the realtor is going to charge me 3%, if not 6%. So what happens is the seller's realtor and the buyer's realtor, they both charge 3%. So the seller is paying 6% of the total sale. Now, if you're only working with small numbers, that's not a lot. But if you go to $100,000, that's literally $6,000 that you're paying to a realtor. You're paying, the seller's paying right directly to a realtor. If it's a $200,000 house, that's $12,000 going to a realtor. Wouldn't it be so much better if you go to a seller and say, hey, seller, I'm a wholesaler. I want to sell your house for you. I want to take care of your problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get it under contract for our agreed upon price to take care of you. And then I'm going to do everything I can to get you what you need. So if it's selling it, if it's leasing it, whatever it might be, like I might even just assign the contract to somebody else. And if I do that, I'll take care of you and you're going to pay so much less money. So if it's a $200,000 house, you're not even going to pay that $12,000 in realtor fees. I'm going to make the buyer pay it. Or you could even, as a wholesaler, a good trick would be charge the seller and charge the buyer. Take that, instead of that 6% from both, 3%, 3%, maybe do 1% from both. And so 1%, that would, from a $200,000 house, that's $4,000 just from finding a seller and finding a buyer, connecting them. You make that money. So you're going to be helping the seller. On top of that, you're helping the buyer as well save money. That's the great thing about and/or signs. You literally remove so many fees that don't need to be there. Now, let me give you some downsides to and/or assigns. Now, some downsides would definitely be if you're working with let's just say somebody who's never really bought and sold. They're not real estate or realtors. They're not investors. They don't know much about real estate. And you're talking to a seller. It's just a normal homeowner that just wants to sell a house, and you're trying to get a good deal on it. And you're convincing them that your price is a good deal. And in the end, they see the words and/or signs. And they're, what does this mean? You say, well, I have the option to assign it to somebody else, to give it to somebody else and help somebody else buy the property as opposed to me buying it myself. Now, what the downside of that could be is that the seller actually says, you know what, I'm scared now. They might get scared and say, no, you're a shyster. You're just trying to steal this property from me. Well, what it comes down to is us as investors or wholesalers or anybody that is trying to help this couple or this person that's selling their house, we need to reassure them. We need to show them that, no, we're not trying to take your property. We're trying to give you what you need. Now, if this is not what you need, we can talk about that. What is it that you need? You need to sell this house. Here's the money. This is what you're going to get. I'm going to make sure that this contract is absolutely fulfilled. And if not, you can take my earnest money. It's your money because I'm backing out of it. I'm going to make sure that every bit of it is taken care of. You're going to get everything on this contract that you want. It just might not be me, just in case if I don't have the money ready and able to buy it. I have other investors, I have other people who can buy it, and I am going to take care of you. It's all about them. Just make sure the seller is knowing that you're there for them. Because if you don't, they might back out the deal and just go get a regular realtor and pay them $12,000 or 6% for them. So what I want you to do is if they get scared and like, man, what does and/or signs mean and how does that affect me? Reassure them that you are there to help them. You're on their side. You so want to help them out because if you don't have the contract, if you don't have the deal, what's the point of doing this? And inside of negotiating and inside of real estate, I always love to have win-wins every single, or win-win-win. Like the seller wins, I win, and the buyer wins. We want to help everybody win and take care of everybody that we work with. So when they start getting upset or concerned, just really brush those fears away. Really help them to understand everything in this contract is going to be fulfilled for you, or you're going to get my earnest money. You're a win-win either way. And on top of that, you're probably going to need to educate them on a little bit of real estate investing, not just and/or signs, but on real estate investing as well, which is it's part of the process of you trying to get properties that are much less in price. Like, let's say the after repair value is going to be like $150,000, but you've got it under contract or almost. You're sitting down ready to sign a paper for $100,000. If you're going to sign it for $100,000, that's like literally $50,000 that they're going to be giving up. And so you're going to have to educate them a little bit on what it's going to be about with real estate investing. You need to show them that you are taking care of selling the property, just like a realtor, and share it with them. If you go with a realtor, they're going to charge you 6%. If you go with me, I'm only going to charge you 1%. So whatever that might be, let's say the purchase price is $100,000, I'm only going to charge you $1,000. They're going to charge you $6,000. And then you also turn around, you charge the buyer. You charge the buyer, make sure that you're making money on both ends. So what you're going to show them is you're taking care of their needs just like a realtor would to sell the property. That's what you absolutely need to do. You also need to show them that and how much money you are saving. Show them that you're saving the money and how much money. Like literally pencil everything out. You're going to be paying this fee. You're going to be paying this fee. You're going to be paying this fee. And see my little fee of 1%, that's out of $100,000 sale. It's $1,000. You're going to have a laundry list of like $10,000 that you're going with me. I'm taking care of you. Like, let me do what I do best, is take care of my people. Also, you'll get them to work with you. They're going to say, you know what? This, Dustin Heiner, he takes the time. I like him because he's taken the time to help me to understand. He's answered all my questions. I feel so comfortable because I don't feel like he's left anything out. And so you're bringing them on. You're saying, come with me. I'm going to help you. Let me take care of you. And they will in turn feel like, you know what? This guy actually, this guy actually is looking out for me. He wants to help me out. He wants the best for me. Also, you are also sharing with them that you can tailor this contract to fit them. Now, if they go to a realtor, more than likely they're not going to tailor it very much. You're going to do everything you can. Like, what do you need? Let's make sure. Let's write it down. What do you need? Let's write it down. Let's get it in this contract. So you're really going to help them and walk them through the process so you get them what they need so you can tailor that contract as well. Now, you already have an agreed upon price. You already have agreed upon terms. You have agreed upon everything. And so you just need to let them know, like, bottom line, I'm not going to change anything. This contract cannot change. It's just the who can be changed. You are going to get everything we've already discussed. Now, another thing that you need to watch out for or understand that banks will usually never like and or assigns. They know about real estate investing. They know what and or assigns means. And so if you go to an REO or real estate owned or foreclosure and you write on Dustin Heiner and or assigns and you send it to them, more than likely they're not going to like that. They might just line it out, which if they line it out or if they just counter and say, no, we got to take it out, then oh well, that's what you got to do. You got to figure out other ways to buy this property. But I would say banks aren't the best, or they don't like that because they know that if you can get money, the reason why you're doing it is because you make money doing it. They think in their minds, well, why don't I just skip you and go to that person? So even though they don't have contacts and all that and sort of stuff, but they know the game and they know that and or assigns is a way to make you money. And they might say, hey, I don't want that. I want to go directly with you or not with somebody else. Because the big thing is it might fall out. Like you might be not able to get this assigned and you might have everything fall through and then the bank has to start over again. So there's many different reasons. They usually don't like and or assigns. Another thing that you need to watch out for as a wholesaler or somebody who uses and or assigns, that you are putting your reputation, your investor status on the line. If the other person that you're selling this property to, you're assigning this contract, like here's the seller A and you have buyer B, like over here, and this buyer backs out, this seller is going to look at you as like, what just happened? I thought we were going to sell. I was ready to close tomorrow, and now the buyer's not there. I'm holding you accountable. So then, number one, your escrow money, the money that you put in escrow, your earnest money is going to be taken out. I have a whole nother video on earnest money. It should be in the description below. But that earnest money, they're going to take that. They're going to look at you as somebody who can't do business. And on top of that, your reputation as an investor, as a wholesaler, anything like that, could potentially go down if you cannot close on deals. When you close deals, that's what makes your reputation look good. When you don't, like let's say you're an investor, you're putting out offer. You're putting out so many offers and yet not closing on any. Realtors aren't going to want to working with you because you're just wasting their time. So we want to close deals. And so that's something we want to watch out for, is if we're bringing a buyer on, maybe having a backup buyer just in case something falls through. We don't want to look bad and we want to close on the deal. We want to help out seller and we want to help out the buyer. That's the goal, is to create a win-win-win. And like I said, you are still on hook for the contract because the seller is agreeing with you. Even though you can assign it, you're still on hook for it. And so the worst case scenario, you literally you literally get out of the contract by paying the earnest money. You've already put the earnest money in escrow to get under contract so you can go shop it around and try to sell and do this, assign it out. But the downside would happen is if you can't do it and the next day the contract's up, the seller can literally say, okay, hey, you didn't follow through. I want all my earnest money. Title company says, this is the contract. You messed up. Boom. Seller, here's your earnest money. You just lost $500, $1,000, or whatever it might be, and your reputation goes down. So you're still on hook for the contract, whatever the contract says. If you put something crazy like, if this doesn't go through, I will jump on one leg and put my hand on my head and do it. if you put that in the contract, you're going to have to do that. So you're still on hook for the contract. I know that's completely over exaggerated, but that's something you gotta have to watch out for. Everything in the contract is still on you. Also, the buyer and seller can actually ask you, and they probably will ask you, how much are you making off of this? Like, I know it's worth $150,000. I'm putting under contract for $100,000. How much are you making on the deal? You can lie. I absolutely disregard that. I do not lie. I just tell them the truth. Well, from you, I'm going to charge you 1%. You've already told them out front how much you're making on the deal. 1%. You don't necessarily need to tell them that you're charging the buyer as well 1%. You just tell them, I'm charging you 1%. Just that's what it is. If they keep hammering you, just be honest. The best thing you could ever do is just be transparent, honest, get everything out there, because in the end, you'd never want them to come back and bite you in the butt and say, you didn't tell me this, or you didn't tell me that. And like, oh, I was trying to get, or you don't say this, but like you're thinking, I wish I could get that past you without you noticing. No, just be completely open and completely honest. And if they ask, tell them. You don't have to tell them the whole thing, like I'm also charging the seller as well, or the buyer as well. But you do want to be honest. And a big question I always get is, well, what happens if you get stuck with a contract? What happens if the buyer backs out and you have and/or assigns and you can't buy it? Well, I have a whole nother video in there inside my YouTube channel as well. So I definitely want you guys to check that one out. Check the description for all the links for all these videos. And remember, guys, to click that like and click that subscribe button so I can get you so much great content about real estate investing. I want you guys to be able to quit your job and never work a job, that just over broke 9-to-5 job ever again, because you're investing in real estate. Okay, guys, we'll see ya.